I want to say thank you to Abby and Tim for having us out tonight and putting this event together, and I appreciate everyone showing up tonight. It's difficult for people with families to come out after work and attend these events, and I think it's important for everybody to hear from the candidates that we have. All of them are good quality candidates. I think some of us have talked about that, and we have a strong ticket and a strong ballot, and I think everybody here would appreciate your support. Just a little bit about me. I am Lucas County born and raised. In fact, I live just around the corner here from where we are right now, and I grew up in this part of town, and I attended Savannah Public Schools until high school, and I, at that point, was fortunate enough my parents could send me to St. John's, and I graduated from there. Went on to undergrad at the Ohio State University. Came back to Toledo after I graduated from Ohio State, went to law school at the University of Toledo where I met my wife. And we live just around the corner. We have two lovely daughters. I think having those daughters has been helpful and in learning about how to raise kids in Lucas County and what you have to do as a parent. And I think that has been something that has been helpful to me as a juvenile court judge. How did I get to be judge? As Tim mentioned, I was appointed by Governor DeWine in November of last year to the bench, and I work with Judge Linda Knapp, and I want to stress this because I think this is important. We're not running against each other. We work together. She has one seat, I have the other seat. Everybody that I meet when I'm out talking to folks in the community talks about the really nice lady who's the judge. Well, that's her, and I'm the other judge. I got appointed by the governor, and before I got appointed, I had been working in the juvenile court as a juvenile prosecutor. I worked as a staff attorney for the Child Support Enforcement Agency. My entire practice was in the juvenile court. And then for the previous 12 years, I was a magistrate in juvenile court. My entire legal experience and my entire legal career has been helping the children and families of Lucas County in the juvenile court. And a lot of times when I'm talking, I feel like I should end right there and say, I have the most experience. I'm certainly more experienced than my opponent in this race, and I appreciate the kind words from Judge Knapp, who is very modest about her own success. We work together very well. Our philosophies align very closely. It's been a real change in the court. Having worked there for as long as I have, it's been an opportunity for us to make some needed changes. I have been able to see what works, what doesn't work so well, and some of the philosophies of the court in the past that don't necessarily align with what Judge Knapp and I think. And I think we are interested in making sure that youth that commit serious crimes are held accountable for that. And I think we're also interested in making sure that these kids, after they have committed these crimes, that we expose them to other paths, other elements in our community, other lifestyles, other choices, so that they don't commit those crimes again. And oftentimes when I talk about the kids that appear in juvenile court, I talk about their world. Their world is basically their street or their neighborhood. That's what they know. I mentioned I went to Savannah Public Schools. Every year we had a trip to the zoo. Every year we had a trip to the museum. These are some of the most iconic places in the city of Toledo. They're not just things that people in Lucas County know. They're things that people around the world know. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go to these. The kids that appear in front of us on a daily basis, they've never been there. They have no idea about the zoo, about the museum, or any of the other nice things that we have here in Lucas County. And it's important to get them out there. We have a program with the museum. We have a program with the zoo. We are getting kids out into the other parts of the community, and that is expanding what they know, and it gives them an opportunity to sort of break the cycle of being involved in these delinquency matters and committing these crimes. So typically I'd say, okay, I think I've talked about myself enough, and there's not really anything else to know, and I would sit down. I do have to mention one other item, and it's difficult for me to talk about, and I have talked about it at a handful of other events, and I apologize to people who have heard this before. In April of 2023, my sister was murdered by a juvenile here in Lucas County, along with, in concert with her son. And I wasn't for sure if I wanted to talk about that ever. It's really hard when you have the most horrific and tragic thing that's ever happened to you in your life than to stand up in front of a room full of strangers and talk about it. But I think it gives some of you an idea about me. And one thing that has helped me with, I think, is understanding what victims go through when they are sitting in the courtroom. I told you all I worked in juvenile court for over 20 years. In April of last year and through hearings subsequent to that, I had to sit in that courtroom in a role which I never sat in before. And typically when victims come into our courtrooms, they're accompanied by victim witness, folks from the prosecutor's office and the court, and they sit in a certain spot in the courtrooms. And I had to sit there with my family, and I can guarantee you that no one else can know what it's like to sit there as a victim after having suffered through that is working as a judge, I think, here in Lucas County, but definitely not in juvenile court and certainly not my opponent. It's really given me an insight into making sure that victims are heard, that victims receive the appropriate support, and that victims are understood. Those things have been enshrined in our Constitution. Thank you. Those things have been enshrined in the state constitution through Marcy's Law, and I think that has been slow to be adopted by not just Lucas County, but jurisdictions throughout the state. It's really given me a chance to focus, and it's also given me a chance to honor the memory of my sister, who I think was one of my biggest fans. And I'm proud to stand in front of you all and let you know about how I got to this point, and I would appreciate everybody's support. Early voting has already started. I took care of my voting when I was out there on Tuesday, and if not, I certainly would appreciate everybody's vote and support on November 5th. I want to thank you all for being here again, and I look forward to continuing to serve children and families here in Lucas County.